Hello and welcome to another edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla. Of course, I am your mayor of PHNX, and I am joined by a brand new co-host today. That's right, I'm replacing both Jesse and Michaela with Cooper Hummel from the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think that it's going to be a magnificent show going forward. We have some great chemistry. But of course, before we get to that, I want to let you guys all know that this show is brought to you by the fine folks at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Go get down on the NBA Finals action. I know it hurts. It hurts me just to say it, but get down on the NBA Finals action with the DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers can bet $5 on either team to win their game, and you will get $150 in free bets instantly. That's all you got to do over at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Of course, very excited to be joined by Cooper Hummel from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Our boy Coop has been doing some great things this season as a rookie for the D-backs, and it has been very exciting to see some of his big moments already early in this season. No disrespect, I will be bringing Jesse and Michaela back eventually, but I don't know. I'm going to see how long this thing with me and Coop can go. But before we get to any of that, wanted to let you guys know to go over to gophnx.com and sign up for a membership if you haven't done so already. Wonderful writing, all sorts of stuff coming out. Jesse and I have been talking about the home runs for the Diamondbacks in May, Joe Mantiply, what exactly is going on with certain members of this team and the offensive output that they've had. So make sure to sign up at gophnx.com if you're not a member already. You can get an annual membership, which will get you a free t-shirt over at the PHNXLocker.com, or you can get a month-to-month option where you can get your first month for just 50 cents. Of course, both options give you not only access to our members-only discounts over at the PHNX Locker, the aforesaid PHNXLocker.com, but you also get members only access to our Discord, where we'll be chatting about this Diamondbacks team all season long. But without any further ado, now I wanted to introduce Arizona Diamondbacks outfielder, potential catcher, and just all around great guy. Here's my interview with Cooper Hummel. And first, obviously, thank you so much for joining us, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. Very, very excited for your first walk-off hit the other night. That was exciting. This team has been exciting. What was that like for you?
Man, as far as the walk-off goes, like it's my first ever.
Right.
Literally high school, college, pro ball, whatever. I've had game-winning hits. There's just nothing like it. Like, yeah. A game-winning hit's cool, but like the fact that you get a hit and the game's over, it's like it's just a surreal feeling, super exciting. As far as the team goes, I mean, you said it, like this team is exciting. It's a different vibe. Like we're pretty dang good, if I do say so myself. Like aside from our 8 games against the Dodgers the last 2 weeks, like we've been on a tear. Like I'm not jealous of the team that has to face us. And like this 10-game road trip coming up, like Pittsburgh's coming in hot, and like obviously, we just beat the defending world champs. Like we're coming in hot too. Like it's going to be a fun series, playing Cincinnati too, and like going to Philly, which is another very good team. Like I take us 10 out of 10 times. Like there's no doubt about it. Like I bet on this team every day of the week. Like
I love that confidence, and I feel that too, right? Like this team seems like, even though the personnel isn't that different from last year, which was probably the biggest criticism coming into this year, you guys have been a damn good baseball team. And I guess you being a newer guy to the team, what's the atmosphere like in the clubhouse? I mean, has 2021 kind of been put behind and no one really talks about it, or is there still like kind of discussions about how bad last year went for this team?
I think the beginning of the year, like there was discussions like, hey, we got to flip the page. Yeah. I wasn't here. I had no idea what it was like. I don't know what it felt like. Like you heard about it, like, yeah, like we're just not going to talk about that. Like that was a bad year. And it's like,
sure.
We start off game 1 and we're walking off San Diego. We're like, dude, like this is a new year, new team, like whatever. And obviously we hit a skid. Like the first week and a half, 2 weeks was not our thing. And you could kind of tell there was like, oh no, like, are we going back into 2021?
Yeah.
But we hit that series against the Dodgers. We would take 2, and then we haven't looked back. Like it was just definite like turning point. And our pitching's been lights out all year. Our bullpen's been great. Our starters have been amazing. Like we were doing really good things with the bats for those first, 14 games. So I don't think anyone was hitting the panic button. You could just kind of tell like there was like a okay, like when's it gonna come? Like when is the team kind of gonna like explode and like become what 2022 is, not what 2021 was.
Yeah. And we talked about everybody working together at like all the pieces working at the same time. And when you guys do have everybody kind of clicking in the same direction, that's where this team seems to be very, very good.
100%. And we're dangerous. Like I really believe it. Like when our starting pitching gone, I would take our 5 guys over any other 5 guys. Like I know that's aggressive considering like you can go look at the Dodgers and like you have Kershaw, Buehler, like you got Urias, and you go to the Mets, you got Scherzer, like, but like Merrill on his best day can beat any one of those guys. Gallen on his best day can beat any single one of those guys.
Yeah.
Like I trust every single one of them whenever they go out and they have the ball, like they're going to give it everything. And like, they're good pitchers. Like I've caught a few of them. Like I caught Merrill this offseason. Like his stuff is as good as anyone's.
And speaking of that, you did catch, you are a catcher. Are we going to see more of that from you? Or is that just kind of like a backup role for catching the guys when they need someone to do bullpens and stuff?
I think that's a better question for Tori.
All right.
I have no idea.
We'll leave it up to him.
Yeah. I think obviously I had the 2 innings with position players, giving guys like an inning break. Sure. And then with Varsh getting hit in the shoulder the other day, getting that backup role behind Hosey. I love catching. If that's something that develops more, like I'm totally up for it. Obviously we have Carson coming back at some point soon. And my role behind the plate will be limited even more when you got Carson and then Hosey, who's been doing a great job this year. And then of course, Varsh, who caught a good amount last year. So I don't anticipate it being one necessarily, but if the role happens, then it happens. Like I'm working on it. I'm ready. Tori
loves versatility. So yeah. I promise you, you keep that attitude, it'll happen. But
my friend's a big fantasy baseball guy, and he's like, dude, you get 10 games, you're catcher eligible. He's like, you got 7 more, like figure it out.
Yeah, just gotta get you in there for this many, and you qualify. Yeah. I can start you. But you've had some big hits already this year. Not only the walk-off, but your first hit of the year was a 3-run home run. Your first major league hit for you. How did that feel to get not only that behind you, but for it to be such a momentous occasion?
Man. Well, I think the other thing too is like the end of the first series. Like that was the last at bat of the first series for me, and it's like, yeah, I really did not want to go into the next series not having a hit.
Sure.
So like there was that, and I had a couple the first day against Mania where it's like, man, you hit that 100 plus, like that could have easily been a hit, or like Abrams made 2 great plays on me, and like guys are like, dang, dude, like you had it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, like, but we're getting to the end of the day. I'm like, God, like I really wish I had that. Like, it ended up being a better moment, and yeah, I'm more thankful now that like those other hits didn't happen, or like those other ground balls or line drives that I might have had like got caught. Obviously, I liked the hit, but it was pretty special having family and friends there, and yeah, the reaction was pretty cool to watch too.
It was awesome. It was a great. I guess I wanted to know, like, can you describe what the first time hearing that Coop chant from the crowd at Chase Field was like? Because that seems like a big moment.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure you've heard it before, right? But this is probably one of the more significant ones.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was pretty significant. Like it's indescribable. Like the moment I stood up on Chase Field, like my first at bat, like when like walking out there, you're like, oh man, like this is happening. Like, yeah. It's just like I've had that moment multiple times this year where it's like, wow, like we got 30,000 people here, and like the eyes are on my at bat. Like it's really indescribable. Yeah. It really is. Like I'm trying to think of words to describe like how I felt, but it's like it's all on you. Like it's this moment that you've always like dreamed of.
Sure.
And when it is come to fruition, like it is the most it's actually the most at peace I've kind of ever been.
Okay.
It's a weird way to say
it. Yeah. No, I get it. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So, because you've wanted this for a long time, and I know how big of a dream this has been for you. And I honestly, like, as an observer for baseball from the outside, baseball is very difficult to get to the point that you're at right now, and to make it to the big leagues and to have these wonderful moments that you've been able to have this season. And I get that, it's definitely a long path. I know you've had a long path, but I also saw you were mic'd up on opening day, which was a lot of fun to watch. And I have to point out that a couple of times you said more than once that you snuck in on opening day. Did it feel like that for you? Did you have like a bit of imposter syndrome being there on opening day?
No, like I think kind of coming in, like I had no idea where I was going to fit in this year. I didn't know going into camp, like you had in your mind, you're like, yeah, like I belong, like I can make this team. Like I was doing a lot of really good things at camp. But we have David, who was and is our left fielder. Like you have Varsho, his spots in center field. Paven is a great right fielder and has done a really good job for us this year and last year. And you have Seth and Walker, and like got kind of like the way my positioning would work, like there got to be some moves. And like I knew this coming in. And obviously you have other guys like Alec, who's recently been called up and had a really good spring training, and Jake McCarthy, and like no, like I knew I was fighting for a spot, but I didn't know how things kind of play out.
Sure.
And when at the end of spring training, I still hadn't been told if I made the roster yet. Like guys are like, well, you're still here. Like, congrats. And I'm like Ian Kennedy, like the day before, season, he's like, dude, congrats, man. I'm like, thanks. Like, I'm still here, but I haven't made the team yet. No one's told me. Like Tori told me right after practice that Wednesday before the game. And like, we had a couple other guys still around that didn't make the opening day roster. So like at that point, guys are like, have I made it? Have I not? And so when I say like snuck in, it's like I'm hanging around at these like moments, and like they're using videos and pictures from like the 2 or 3 days prior, like in the exhibition games and the practices, and they're making it like putting into opening day videos. And
you're like, they didn't edit me out.
Like, but I'm standing in all these pictures or in these videos, and they're talking about like opening day 2 days away.
Yeah.
I'm in like half of them, and I'm like, I haven't made the team yet. No one's told me. So like a friend of mine had texted me, and the comment was like, hey, like, don't mind me. I'm just sneaking into opening day.
Sure.
Like I'm just standing there minding my own business. And
almost hoping not to get noticed, so that they're not like, hey, why is that guy still here?
Yeah. But like, the imposter syndrome was not like there for me personally, but it was just kind of funny, like not being told anything until like after practice, and there being all these things posted about opening day coming up. And like,
was there a point where you wondered if maybe like if they just forgot to tell you or something, or like,
to be honest, kind of like you're on Twitter and you're like, man, like Julio Rodriguez just was told, like, I'm trying to think of who else was told before opening day. Oh, Torkelson was told. And I'm like, yeah, like they're top prospects. Maybe that's just different. Like, and then my wife was sitting there talking to other wives, and they're like, yeah, so-and-so wasn't told before his opening day, like 3 years ago, that he made the roster. He was just there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. Like,
okay.
Like, I'm not going to have that moment. Like, I had no clue. And like, I'm sitting there with like Hager was there like a couple of days before opening day too. And he's like, we're like, dude, opening day, like this is going to be sick. Obviously Hager didn't make the opening day roster, but he's here now. I'm like, so like just seeing how this all played out, like, it was just like, I'm sitting there going, well, I guess I'm here. Like,
you're here.
So,
well, and they were right for getting you here, right? You're now in the top 2% in the league in walk rate, and been doing great. Have you always been a really patient hitter, by the way, or is that something that's kind of developed?
Yeah. I mean, I'm always pretty patient, sometimes to a fault.
Okay.
I think we've seen that a couple of times this year where I've like taken some good pitches to hit, or like some borderline ones. I like to think my zone is better than the umpire's zone, but
of course,
I can't argue with that right now sometimes. But yeah, I've always been pretty patient. I think it kind of took a turn for me in college. Like I'm really aggressive too, sometimes early in the count. And I think what's kind of happened is like the older I've gotten, the more I figured out how guys are going to pitch to me.
Sure.
And if I don't get a certain pitch, like first pitch to the at bat, like I can be super selective and hunt what I want. Yeah, it's just kind of happened. I don't really think about it. I don't really know. Like, I know that's kind of my thing is like, yeah, you get on base, you walk a lot. And like I said, it gets me in trouble sometimes.
Sure.
Definitely been more patient recently. Like,
well, we saw that with the team at a point too, right? Where you guys were walking more than any other team in the league, but the bats still weren't there as far as hits and things like that, right? So,
100%.
But it came around, and I wanted to ask about working with Joe Mather. Has Joe Mather had a big impact on you so far?
Yeah, Joe, Easy, and Shorty. Like, I work with all three of them all the time. They're awesome. Like, this is a great group of hitting coaches. I really like what they're doing with everyone. Myself personally too. Like, we have a great routine set up, and they really get me as a hitter too. So having the ability to bounce ideas off of them, both like from a swing standpoint and just as a mental standpoint, like they've really helped ground me. Like, I know I've needed that a couple of times.
Sure.
Obviously knowing my role right now as a platoon bat versus lefties for the most part, or a late game pitch hit role, finding, mentally how to do that, or, the right way, or like, hey, you're hitting balls hard, but like you're out, like, let's, stick to our approach. Like they've really helped me stay level-headed and grounded and like stick to what I do best.
We've heard that they've been providing a really tailored approach to everybody, like specifically for each hitter. Same thing with Brent Strom with the pitching. And I just, that the coaching staff, we were kind of over the moon about the hires they made. And I feel like it's kind of, been reflected about how good you guys have been this year and the way you guys have been able to play some of these teams so well.
Yeah, no, the coaching staff's been great. I mean, every single one of them here, like I've only played for this big league staff. Like I've had staffs, like
it's a good staff to play for.
It's a great group to play for. Like everyone's positive. Everyone's got an idea. And like you said, they're like really individually tailored to each person, which I think is huge. Cause like we're all so different. Like you cannot teach me, or like you cannot work with me on how to hit like Marte. Like it just doesn't work. We're totally different players.
That makes sense.
Christian Walker and me, like we're totally different guys. Like we might think the same way in some senses, but like my game is different than Walk's. Like Walk's going to go out and hit 35, and I'm, hopefully going to hit 15, it's just different.
Yeah. But you've been doing this for a long time. I know we kind of talked about a little while ago, but this has been your dream. I uncovered by accident an old tweet of yours from 2013 where you were at Chase Field saying that this was where you wanted to come play here one day. So it's really cool that this has happened. But you were also on the Lake Oswego Little League team that advanced to the Little League World Series when you were younger. And I guess how like what impact, I imagine that has a huge impact on a kid to want to do this for the rest of their life.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of always been a baseball rat, baseball junkie.
Yeah.
I mean, it started when I was younger. Like I would, one of my closest friends growing up, like we'd play wiffle ball every time we hung out. Like I lived in a cul-de-sac and we had different spots in the cul-de-sac. Like you knew that was second base. Like we were playing right there. Like, this field was already set up. He had this great front yard where it was like, it was perfect. Like he had this perfect edging, like kind of to the backside. You're like, if he goes over that, it's a homer. Like each one of these spots, the base, like we knew. And so we played all the time. And then not just like Little League World Series, but like I lived in Japan for a couple of years and played on a Japanese Little League team over there. And like that's kind of where I really got into it. And like being one of the few Americans over there, like my dad and I would just go hit all the time. Like it was like our thing. And it just it just became my happy place, hitting and baseball. So
sure. Well, how old were you when you went to Japan?
I was in 2nd and 3rd grade.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What a cool experience that is though.
Yeah. Like, great experience.
I'm a big fan of Japan for their like love of baseball, and I'm a big pro wrestling guy too. So they love pro wrestling over there as well. But like, I feel like that's just an amazing experience for you as a kid, for that, not only just to do something that cool, but to see the world like that.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I loved every minute of it. my wife and I have talked about, taking a trip over there. My parents and I and my sister haven't been back since. So I know we all kind of want to go back at some point and experience it again now that I'm older.
Sure.
But it was awesome. But it like really, the way they take baseball so seriously over there, it's like, it's so different. And so it really, like, you either love it or you hate it. Like, I'm just going to put it that way. Like, I was 8 years old on a team. We were practicing from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And it was like all defense in the morning, all hitting in the afternoon. Like, you had to love it. And I loved it. Like, I loved every little bit of it.
They were making the future stars as far as they were concerned. Yeah.
100%.
Well, you've been up through a lot between now and then. I know you've had through your baseball journey, you've had some discouragement along the way, and you've kind of like used that as times for, fuel and kind of a way to inspire yourself to push harder and prove people wrong. What has that been like, and how satisfying is it to be at this point after all that?
Man, I feel like even now, like, I'm still proving people wrong, like,
sure.
I wasn't the first round pick. I wasn't I'm not the 6'4" power hitter that everyone loves. Like, that still is ingrained in me, but like, it's super satisfying knowing that I've done everything to prove myself right and prove other people wrong. Like, I've had people, I don't want to say against me, but like, just not in my corner, since I was like 12, like, even on the little league team, like, I was the smallest one there. Like, I mean, was I one of the better ones in the league? Yeah. But like, there's always politics. There's always different things that go on. I did my own thing for, JBO is what we called it, junior baseball for junior high and stuff like that. I played travel ball. And like, I know there were issues with that. Like, when I went to high school, because like, I didn't stay with the same group. And, the high school coach I had issues with there, like, because I was the smallest one and he told me not to switch hit and like, didn't want me to catch. And like, there's always been different things. And at one point he told me I wouldn't amount to anything in baseball. So like, hearing those type of things, like, it makes you want it even more. Yeah. And like, me and that coach have since talked, and like, we're in a good place. And actually, it's funny, one of my closest friends from college and my college roommate, he coaches with him every day. And so he reminds him, he goes, "Hey, you remember when you told him this?" And like, hey, just wanted to let you know he's doing really well. And he did that.
I brought you his baseball card, by the way.
And just like, it was just so funny hearing his response. And so like, I've had things like that, or college coaches just like not want to recruit me because I was 5'9", 5'10", and in high school, like, I didn't grow until my junior year, really. Like, I was 5'5" freshman year, and like, Oregon State already had their catcher, like Logan Ice, who was a second rounder out of there, was committed there like freshman, sophomore year. And I was a catcher in high school. Hey, I'm like the short guy, like, you want to come talk? And it was just, so like, different things like that, or like having schools like be interested, and then their head coach be like, "Oh no, he's too small. He's like, he can't catch at this level." So I've had enough of that. And then in the minors, like, get drafted, and every single year it seemed like there was a speed bump, like, cool, like, you got drafted, but like, here you go, like, you're not active for this amount of time, like, figure it out. And like 2017, I wasn't active for the first 40 games of the year. And I came in, was a triple shy of a cycle my first day, or sorry, single shy of the cycle, not a triple shy. That was later in the year, and like, earned my spot. And like, I've kind of had to do that each year in some regard. Like, I had a position change from catcher to outfield the next year, and I had to earn my spot as an outfielder. Like, they wanted me to play outfield so I could hit more, but I didn't have a spot. Like, they were basically saying, "Hey, do this, but earn it." And every year I've kind of had to do that.
Well, and it's wild because I can relate a lot to that myself, just with doing this. Like, ever since I was a kid, I like to write, and I was always discouraged in so many different ways because, there's not money in writing, or it's, there might not be a career for you or whatever. Right. So it's like, as much as you would like to say along your journey that you had people constantly, and I'm sure you did, and we all do, right? But you never expect to have people actually telling you like, "Oh yeah, that sounds great, but you're not good enough in some way to live out the dream that you have for yourself." And I'm glad you got to prove a lot
Appreciate
of
it.
those people wrong. And in fact, your walk-up song "Hell and Back" by Kid Ink is a banger, by the way. And
Thanks.
is there a bit of connection there between the lyrics and kind of what you've been through? Because it feels a little bit like it.
Yeah, there 100% is. There's definitely a personal meaning to me for that one. Obviously, it's probably nowhere close to like what the song was actually meant for. And like,
Sure.
have I been to hell and back? No, but like, I've grinded my way through different things, and like it for me, like walking up to that is definitely like, yeah, I'm putting my head down and like I know what I've been through and I know what I've done. Like this is me, and like let's go. Like it's definitely there's some personal feelings there.
It gets me amped up. I know that when I hear it. So, I mean, I totally get it. And I know what you're saying. Yeah. Like the lyrics, though, very much kind of talk about what you've kind of talked about with your journey a bit. Right. And just the, like, again, putting all of that discouragement behind you. Right.
Yeah.
But with that behind you, you've had some great things happen over the last year, including getting married and getting traded here to Arizona. And it all happened during a pretty chaotic time kind of in society with this pandemic and everything else going on. So like, how did you manage that? And now how memorable is all of it now that it's kind of in the rear view mirror a bit?
I mean, as far as getting traded, I was the happiest guy in the locker room that day.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that was probably one of the best days last year. Like I had a good year, but getting called in the manager's office before the game, telling me I got scratched, and I was kind of like, what's going on here? Like, honestly, I thought I was getting called up because I was playing first base every day over there for the week before I got called up. And I was like, well, like, I guess the first basemen in Milwaukee aren't really doing that well. Like, maybe this is why.
Sure.
And like they had changed lineups a few days in a row, like where I was like set up and left, or I wasn't playing, and like we would get to the field and the lineup would be completely changed, and I'd be at first. And so like when I
just felt like something was weird going on.
I was at the mall in Jacksonville with my wife and fiance at the time, and I get a text like from like one of my best friends over there, and he texts me, he goes, dude, you're playing first. Like, what are you like? Where are you? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like that you saw the text last night? I'm not playing game one.
Yeah.
He goes, no, you're playing game one and you're playing game two today. Like we had a doubleheader. He's like, you're playing both games and you're playing first. And I'm like, what? And so we're at the mall, like 30, 40 minutes away in Jacksonville. And like, I'm like, hey, babe, we got to go. Like, I got to get to first base because I'm not going to say I have no clue what I'm doing, but
sure. Yeah. You want to get there early and start.
Ever in my life. I'm a 5'9", 5'10", like,
right.
Dude, you think I've ever played first? Like, no. So I didn't know what I'm doing around the bag. Like, it's more difficult than everyone gives credit, like first base credit for.
Definitely.
Like, I see Walk do it every day, and he's unbelievable. Like,
he makes it look easy, right? Especially like the stretches he makes to get to. Oh my God! Like I try to bring that up quite often, but yeah, it's not easy what he does over there.
No, it's not. So like, I knew some things were going on. Like I was hitting the ball well at the time too. Seeing a lot of pitches, like walking a lot. I was like, yeah, for sure. Like, okay. Like I get called in. They're like, you're scratched. And I'm like, is this really happening? And they're like, congrats, you got traded to Arizona. I'm like, oh my God. Like what just happened? Like my whole world just totally flipped. I'm like, wait a second. This is great.
Yeah.
Like I walked out of the clubhouse, or out of the office and into the clubhouse. Like everyone's like, dude, are you good? Like I had like the most like, I don't even know how to describe the face, but it was just like complete shock and like, like I just got traded, and literally everyone was so excited for me. Like that moment, like it was so cool. I got a call from Hazen a few minutes later, Josh Barfield a few minutes later, and like just the excitement they had in their voice about like how me coming over to Arizona, like it fit how I was feeling. So that was awesome. But like going home and like packing everything up and like, hey, like we got to get on a plane tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
My wife's like, okay. Like, so we started packing everything up. She goes, I can't do this. Like, you're just going to have to go without me. Like, I'll pack the whole thing up.
So like, this is too fast.
Yeah. She packed the whole thing up by herself, but like, it was a whirlwind, total change of life. Like headed to Reno. Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah.
And then obviously getting married this offseason. So like we've been planning a wedding she was in Nashville with me. So like we've planned a wedding from Nashville, and then she was gone like back to California where her parents live. And so we were doing it all over Zoom or over FaceTime.
Oh, you did? Oh, wow.
It was a mess.
Yeah, I imagine. So you guys you weren't one of the couples that like put it off.
Oh no, we put it off. We were 2020.
Oh, you did put it off to the situation?
Yeah. We were December 5th, 2020. And we got to, so spring training was going on. We're like, yeah, like we're still going to be good. Like this is going to end in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Like we're golden.
Yeah.
And spring training.
We all felt that.
Yeah. And so like at the time, like we were living in Oregon, and so we decided, like instead of going to Oregon, like we'll just go from spring training in Arizona to her parents' house in Irvine, 5-hour drive. Like we'll stay there for a couple weeks. Sure. And instead of driving 20 hours back to Portland, like we'll stay at her parents, drive 5 hours in a couple weeks, go back to spring training. Everything's going to be golden. Like why drive an extra, 15 hours, Little did I know that we would be there for 3-4 months. I mean, it was great, but like we didn't play. Yeah. So during that time, we're like, yeah, we're planning things out, and we kind of hit a point where we're like, maybe we should stop planning. Like we're getting a lot of like, I don't know, answers from vendors and stuff. Like, hey, yeah, we'll see like kind of like where it's going. We're like, okay, well, it gets to June and we hear through the grapevine that our venue is actually closing indefinitely. And we're like, well, they haven't talked to us. And
maybe they should tell people that have weddings planned there.
Yeah, like you should probably tell us. And it it just was like, what are we doing? Hold on. Sorry, my computer's like trying to kick me out of the internet.
Oh no. Oh no.
Are we good?
It's like you've stayed long enough.
Okay, I'm good. Yeah, so it was kind of awkward. Like we were like, what's going on? So we like were making all these calls, couldn't get a hold of anyone. Finally got a hold of someone, and they were like, oh, like, yeah, we're just not sure what we're doing. And I'm like, okay, like give us an answer here. Yeah. They eventually called us like a month later. We're like, yeah, hey, like we're not doing this. Like, here's your money. Like you're good. Like it was like a nicer hotel, and I think they're changing it into condos and stuff like that. But we ended up having to like redo everything. So like we went out and found a new venue and like had to get all the new vendors. It was a mess. So we bumped it back from 2020 to 2021.
Well, the important thing is it got done, right? I mean, it's funny because my advice to anybody getting married is after all of that planning and everything, you don't even remember it. It happens so fast. Everything that happens that night happens just so quickly, But I just wanted to say again, congrats on that. Congrats on being a part of this Diamondbacks team. We are thrilled to have you here, and it's been a lot of fun to watch you and the guys this season.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been a blast. Like I've loved every second of it.
It's awesome, man. Well, thank you again for joining me. I appreciate it. And go kick some ass in Pittsburgh.
Will do.
All right, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. That was great. And I look forward to seeing you out at Chase Field when you guys get back.
Perfect. Yeah. See you
then.
Right,
man. Have a good one. Thank you again for your time.
Yeah.
All right. Bye. Thank you once again to Cooper for joining us on the show. That was incredible. It's so exciting to get to know these guys better than we already do. And I look forward to seeing him do big things on the diamond for this D-backs team this year. Of course, got to go give a shout out to our friends over at OG's Brands. If you haven't had a chance yet, stop by your local dispensary and grab some amazing scratch-made THC gummies from our friends at OG's. They have a wonderful variety of flavors like blackberries and cream, orange creamsicle, pina colada, watermelon, all sorts of great flavors. They have a variety of doses that come in either 3 milligram dose or a 10 milligram dose, depending on which ride you want to take, as I like to say. And they're perfect if you're in the mood for an uplifting sativa or chill indica to get you where you need to be. So if you're interested in trying the amazingly delicious variety of flavors that OG's Brands has to offer, go to ogsbrands.com. That's OGEEZ brands.com to find OG's near you. And guys, before we go, I have to give you my DraftKings pick of the week. And this time I'm giving you guys kind of a banger of a special. that the DraftKings Sportsbook has going on right now. For the NBA Finals, Game 1 tonight, on Thursday. This is happening on Thursday, by the way. They have an offer for you to bet on either the Golden State Warriors or the Boston Celtics. And if your team that you choose goes up by 10 points at any time during the game, you win. Whether they win the game, whether they lose the game, you win. So I'm taking the Boston Celtics because those odds are pretty good. And if you can put down a significant bet on it, your return is looking pretty good with the Boston Celtics in this game. All they need to do is go up by 10 points. So go over to the DraftKings Sportsbook, put some money on either one of these teams, and let's do this. Let's hope both teams go up by 10 at some point during this game. We all win. We all celebrate. We all go out for steak dinners. That's what I'm thinking. So go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. If you are a new customer, you can sign up and get $5. Also, bet $5 or more on either of these teams, like I said, to win, and you will get $150 in free bets instantly. So as a new customer, you might be able to go over and have yourself a nice little weekend at the DraftKings Sportsbook. You can turn a small bet into a big payday with same game parlays where you add multiple legs from the same game. More legs you add, the more money you win. You can add a variety of legs, assists, rebounds, points, who's going to win, who's not going to win, whether they're going to get the number of assists, whether they're not. All sorts of options over at the DraftKings Sportsbook. And again, all customers can place a same game parlay with 3 or more legs right now. Oh, I apologize that portion of it, but you create your own parlay on this, and you can win as much money as one of their customers this year that placed a $5 same game parlay bet and won over $5,000. So win big over at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download it. Use our code of PHNX. Make any $5 bet during the NBA Finals, and you will get $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code PHNX only at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over only. Arizona only. Gambling problem? Dial 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And that's all I got, you guys. We thank you so much for joining us on behalf of Cooper Hummel and myself. We appreciate your time. You can get us on Twitter. I'm at @cap_caveman with a K. Coop is at Coop Hummel on Twitter. But of course, all roads lead to @PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also find our show over at @PHNX_DBacks. If you're listening to us right now in your favorite audio podcasting app, please subscribe. Leave us a 5-star review if you think Cooper deserves it. I think he does. I think he's a 5-star guy. Also, if you're watching us right now on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel and sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss any of the wonderful content coming out from the PHNX team, not just us over at D-backs. We got some loaded. We are loaded with talent over here at PHNX. You can find that out by getting yourself a membership over at gophnx.com and use our code of PHNX over at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Of course, that's after you got yourself some OG's gummies. So let's make it a great weekend, you guys. I hope you all have a fun time. We thank you so much for tuning in. On behalf of Cooper and myself, we appreciate it once again. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you have Cooper Hummel on as a co-host.